everybody, and thank you for tuning in for another episode of Yes, I Am the Veteran. I am your host, Brandy P, and my beautiful co-host, Miss Melissa.
I'm sorry, guys. I think I had lipstick or something.
Got me checking, hold on. And our lovely guest, Miss Jen.
Hi,
So we're excited that Jen can come on with us. So, Jen, tell us a little bit about yourself before we catch up.
Sure. I served 7 years in the Air Force at Cannon Air Force Base and also Luke Air Force Base as a bioenvironmental engineering tech. I got out in 2009, and I'm a mom. I have a teenager. That's scary. High school, we're battling that. I'm a full-time mom, and I also run a small department for a government contractor.
Nice. Well, that's pretty awesome. I can't believe she's a teenager now. I remember when she was a little one.
When she was born, right?
Yes. So Jen and I were stationed together actually at Cannon, which has been voted the worst Air Force installation by the Military Times. So we were both, I guess we got along well because of our dislike for the same place. But if anyone's been out there, Cannon, there's not a whole lot there. Even for Air Force, it's pretty.
And it's better now.
Yeah, now, yeah, but like this is like before AFSOC. This is like
when this is before Chili's.
Girl, man, people kept going to Chili's though. We were so excited.
Oh gosh, Chili's on base? You had Chili's on base? Yeah.
No, it's just in the town because it was like a dry camp.
We didn't even have a Chili's in the town.
Of New Mexico. So people were like getting into like a full-on fight to try to get a reservation at Chili's. Or like Applebee's. That was a big one. I remember that. That was too. Like
it was the worst.
There was just nothing out there. Like you had to drive to like Amarillo or Lubbock to like go to an actual mall or like eat
Target
at a bar or go to a bar. Yeah, Target, yes. So yeah.
Chili's was on base in Yokosuka. We had one Chili's on base and we were always at that Chili's.
We barely had a BX.
Yeah, it was really terrible.
It wasn't very big, but yeah, we both worked in the hospital, so we had to always deal with the pilots. That was always an adventure. But so how's your week been, Melissa? What have you been up to? Did you freeze? Melissa, what have you been up to this last week? Are you there? Can you hear me? What about you, Jen? What have you been up to in the last week?
Oh my gosh, no.
She's back. So I've been working from sun up to sundown. Yesterday was the first day I went home before the sun went down. It was very exciting.
You're like, I can see it. There's daylight. I knew it.
I'm like, the sun does exist. So yeah, just setting our goals for the year has been super stressful, and trying to balance that and be a mom and spend time with my kid.
Yeah, it's hard doing both, like having time to sleep and try to still be social, and then it's been so long you don't know how to interact with the other parents. Hey Troy, good day. I don't know if it's like the evening there for you guys now. For me, I actually had a photo shoot. I did a milk bath citrus photo shoot with like flowers and stuff, but like I didn't know the water was going to be so cold.
Oh no.
And it was literally like, think about like going into like a bowl of cereal. Like that was what it was like, but it was like 50 in like middle of nowhere on like a rainy day. So Melissa, can you hear us?
You guys, I'm having audio issues.
Okay. Well, try to get in through Messenger. And that may help. Do you have your earbuds? Your AirPods, sorry. But when I was in this photo shoot, like it was like a lingerie photo shoot, and then like they do the editing. And when I went to do it, they don't let you go forward. I was leaning backwards.
Okay.
So, quite literally, like I'm leaning backwards into it, and I don't know like when the cold ass milk and water is going to hit my scapula. Like, there's no way this is going to be attractive to anybody. Like, I'm like,
no.
They should have filmed us getting in and out of that pool to do this because it was, yeah.
Yeah, no. Now you know what it's like, what models go through all the time, right?
You know, the expectation versus reality in photos. Like, cool pictures look really cool, so in your mind you would imagine it would be cool to take the photos. No, not always the case.
Yeah.
Found a headpiece that looked like it came from Big Trouble in Little China. That was pretty fun. So, we're gonna continue on. I don't know what's going on with Melissa's sound. Can you hear us now? Okay. So, I don't know, like I don't know about you, but especially.
Okay, so I'm hearing you, so because I'm watching you. I have us on the Facebook.
Oh, there's feedback too.
So,
Yeah, like because you're watching it on something else. Yeah.
dude.
Can you put it in with your earbuds or something, or like a?
Okay, I love y'all. Let me try to get on this from my laptop.
Okay, yeah, try it through Messenger. But so what kind of wine do you have for us this evening, Jen?
I have Bullet. Whiskey.
Okay, yeah. I didn't have a chance to pick up whiskey, so I went with rum.
That works too.
That's what I got today. So let's do a sip for all the hardworking moms out there.
Yeah.
Let's have a sip. But it's been an interesting year already with January. Old Forester 100. Anyone else? What are you drinking tonight? I know we usually don't drink so much on the air, but we get to sometimes. So I don't know about you, but like when you pick up your kids, like do you ever notice like the difference 10 minutes makes in the school pickup line?
I'm a little past that stage now, but I do remember seeing moms, get to the school like 45 minutes to an hour before it actually like was time for school to let out. I'm like, this is insane. I never did the school pickup line because I can't. Murder is bad.
Murder is bad. It's hard as a veteran to like do stuff like.
I'm like, I can't. I'm not moving. No. I always made my daughter like walk across the street, or I was always like in the PTA room, so I'd be like, just come here. Like I never did the pickup line. I can't.
What about you, Melissa? You never noticed how 10 minutes makes all the difference in the school pickup line?
Especially, let me talk about drop off. Can we talk about drop off?
Yeah,
I'm a little more put together by the end of the day. Yesterday, Jeremiah told me if I could brush my hair in the morning when I was dropping him off.
Just do it on the way, Mom.
I was like, yo, what? No. I'm trying to take you to school. Nobody's going to look at me.
Right? We just avoid eye contact. That should be the code. No judgment. Like, I may or may not be wearing a bra. Like, just keep about your day.
Yeah,
definitely probably not wearing a bra when I'm dropping off.
Right? Like, I don't think that should be a rule. Like, but the only thing is, like, if you have pierced nipples, like, you can lose nipple rings, and I lost part of one.
Right.
Let me tell you.
It's like you don't call the school for like lost and found on that. You just like I'm gonna take them off.
They were really special.
Where are they? It's hard to find good ones. Like, I'm just saying, I'm still mad.
There was one I'll never forget. I'm all for nipple piercings. You get your nipple pierced, do your thing. That's your body. That's your choice, right? When Jeremiah was in pre-K, it was like a Christmas party, and it had to have been a sister or an aunt. It wasn't his mom because the little boy's mom was there. This lady had a dress on, no bra, and her nipple piercings were just poking out.
They're out there.
I was like, yo, we're like little kids.
You're going to poke an eye out, literally. Some kid's going to run into it just because.
I feel like there's a time and place for everything,
I agree.
You're out of school, not a club.
Like the drop off, like they are like maybe they just got off from the club, but like
maybe
like girl, like I don't have that time to get a shower this early. Like we're like all put together with sparkles and shit and like jingle boots.
The glitter.
I not. No, it was called. I just didn't want to wear a bra. I was tired.
Who wants to wear a bra on any day?
Just really like just wear like shirts that you can't see exactly, kind of disguises it to like one boobish, like
or like the sports bras that have like the weird like removable padding that always folds and makes you have weird like the worst, right?
Like me.
Either commit or don't.
Commit or don't.
Yeah. Kind of take my fingers and kind of like smooth it out so it opens.
It's the worst. And then you lose one, so you have to take the other one out. Like
And it's like always like your favorite ones too. So then you're like, where'd the other one go? And you find it like in your kid's toy box or something.
Yeah.
It's the pillow for the animals. You're
My
like,
son loves to say, like, put the bra on his head. And he's like, it's my hat. I'm like, dude.
He's trying to like Aurelia used to wear it. She'd be like material girl trying to like put it on and like over her outfit.
Girl.
I was like, girl, stop. Like you do not want to wear this. Like that's time. Enjoy your freedom. But what was I gonna say? And like, do you guys struggle ever with like being a veteran and getting along with the other parents?
It is hard. And I am a PTA dropout after this year. So I did executive board PTA like all through middle school. And I felt like I'm with these skinny blonde bitches. And I'm like here with tattoos and purple hair. I fell into the Stepford Wives. I don't belong here.
I don't belong here. How do I get out of this group chat?
It was very awkward and weird. But you know, eventually, you know, I found my place because I'm rude and crude and I curse and I'm covered in tattoos and had purple hair at the time. And so I just was like this oddball that nobody ever expected to be on the PTA. And then I'm with these moms that their sole purpose is, you know, for their kids. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they're definitely like different categories of moms, I think. Like, and then like you can't get too involved because then your military takes over and then like, you know, people start crying or being offended and then, you know, it's awkward, you know, but then you have like those whiny, like moms are like, well, would you do this in front of my kid? Like you're being an asshole in front of your kid. Like I need to correct it. Otherwise you're just going to keep it up. Like, I don't know what to say.
For me, I would say I did do PTO for like
PTO. No, PTA.
It's PTO too.
Oh yeah,
it's the same.
PTO reported
tomato. And I did like secretary or like something like that, and I would do the notes, the minutes after the meetings. And oh my gosh, like I was like stressed out. I was like, I've never been so stressed out before. Mind you, I've done a flying squad, wake up, jump out the racks, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've all like military, I feel is like really high functioning stress. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I felt like joining the PTO was like the straw that broke the camel's back. But also for me with other moms or even women in general, I just feel like as a veteran, I'm like, everything has a solution and it's not that serious. Like to me, I've noticed a lot of other women are like, oh my gosh, like they just stress and like freak out over these things. And I'm like, well, here's the solution.
You're like watching it like.
I know, I'm like, I feel low key like maybe I'm not taking it as serious as them, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not that serious. Like, there's other things that we should be like worried about.
Way more freaked out about. But I think it makes us like better because like even like at work or any like I always have like the cool head and like hardly ever do I like absolutely freak out and I'm like, hey, let's just do it this way. And they're like, oh, okay. Like so because we've always been put in stressful situations, like we look at it completely different. And so their stressful situation is like a cakewalk for us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't miss phase 2. I don't know about you, but in the professional job setting, like that's never fun. Having to put on all your mop gear.
It is not okay to tell somebody to go fuck themselves.
Like sometimes I feel like it's warranted if it's your ex-husband, though. I'm just saying.
It should be, even if it's a coworker, but it's not allowed. So it's frowned upon in the establishment.
It's frowned upon in the establishment.
Let me tell you a story about cursing. So when I got out the Navy, I put all my eggs in one basket and I applied for the police department out here. I was like, I'm young, I'm Latina, I'm a woman, I'm a veteran, and I come from Northside. So like, why wouldn't the police department want me, right? So I'm talking to the recruiter and he's cursing and I'm just fresh out the Navy. Like, I feel like we're all very familiar with just cursing like casually in conversation.
Well, we don't notice like how offensive it is to others. Like we think it's normal.
Yeah.
To, like, you know, like literally cuss someone out. But like people are like, can you please stop cursing? And you're like, did I say something?
Yeah, and then
Look back on it like, what did I say?
yeah, he was like, "You curse too much. Like when you speak to me, you need to be more professional." I'm like, "Well, I thought like, shoot, you're over here like cracking jokes, cursing, and like casually like, okay, like."
I got the talk not too long ago from one of my bosses, and he's like, "You really need to tone it down." He's like, "You're too blunt. You curse. You're not. You don't care about people's feelings." He's like, "You really need to like tone it down." I'm like, "You don't understand. This is me toned down."
Right, you're like, I'm being nice though, but
I'm like, "This is as good as it gets."
it's gonna like I'm at like max low here for you guys. Like I can go turn it up though. That's funny. For me, I've been pulled into HR myself. Yeah, I get it. You're like, oh, that's offensive. And they repeat it back, and then you're trying not to laugh again because it's hilarious to you, but like they don't find it funny, but like you're screaming on the inside.
I think it's hilarious.
Right? And like also it's like hard to like deal like I don't know if you guys have had to deal with it, but like my daughter, she's had a bully in her school and I had to deal with the dad. And he was a total jerk. But like do you guys ever have to deal with like bullies and like in the dick parents, like especially with like how hard it is to speak after you've gone through basic training? Like while we're talking about like, you know, hard to tone it down, like have you guys ever had to deal with that kind of situation?
I haven't had to. I mean, just I think in general, it's tough to tone it down. I haven't had to deal with a bully, but I can't, or a kid's parents in that sense. But I don't know how great I would handle it.
Yeah.
I would probably be in their face like drill sergeant style.
Like with like the rim space.
Yes.
This is uncomfortable for me. What about you, Melissa?
For me, so
I know you enough. So I'm curious your answer.
actually, I had good relationships when my son was in public school. My son does go to private school, so compared to the other moms, I'm not the typical private school mother.
No.
I can dress up and wear the heels and all that, but I'm not perfect. This is why I'm part of the Bad Moms Club. I'm the one that buys the stuff from the Etsy moms, like,
Yep.
you know. So my son had a Christmas program, and mind you, okay, so private school, he goes to a school, like a Catholic school, right? And so mind you, we're in church, and it's the winter program, and everybody's like, they're all sitting, and there was seats, like I got a spot right in the front. Well, the row behind me, it was a lady and her family, and she's like, "Oh no, you can't sit there. Like it's reserved." And then one of the teachers were like, "Oh no, it's open." And she's like, well, me and my family, we're gonna move in that seat in that row."
Ew.
And she gets up and just starts sitting down. Mind you, I'm waiting for his dad.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to save the spot, and I was just like, "Yo, I'm in a church setting right now.
I'm murder bad.
You know what?
It's on your side.
You know what?
You need it.
Have the fucking row." Like I was just like, you know what? I was just like, okay. And then I was like, I embarrassed my son. I just posted about like me 10 years ago, like when I graduated high school. Like I was not the one to like fuck with. So I've come a long way.
I think, yeah, we all probably
I
have.
was like,
Age and wisdom.
at church, you have been touched by an angel. An angel told me to just let it go. You got it. I was like, yeah. She was probably not somebody I would hang out with anyway, so I figured.
Yeah. No bridges burned.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I don't feel bad. All right, so let's take a sip, and then we're gonna go into mom fail moments.
I've been taking
I have a really good mom fail moment.
Yes, you're in the right place. All right, so Jen, tell us about your mom fail moment.
Okay, so my daughter is a very mature 14-year-old. I want to preface that at the beginning. And I am in love with drag queens. And she also loves drag queens, but we've like always stuck to just like watching like TV on TV. and there was going to be this drag brunch. And I was like, hey, let's go to this. And I've been to like so many drag shows, and they've all been like relatively mild with a lot of like raunchy language. So we go to this drag brunch, and it's going fine. They're telling really sexual jokes, and my daughter's like, okay, this is kind of awkward. Then this lady comes out, and I don't know if her boobs are real or if they're like some sort of prosthetic, but like full on like strappy, like
questionable nipples,
almost naked. And then so I was like, I look at my daughter directly. I'm like, I don't know if this makes me a cool mom or a bad mom. And then the next number, she comes out in a thong and tassels.
There's tassels at least.
Tassels.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, I'm definitely probably a bad mom at this point. Like, I've never, but I mean, we had fun, but overall, I'm like, I think I'm a bad mom now.
We tried.
No, those are fun. I love like Dragula. That's like my show. I love to watch that. But there's some pretty cool shows that are coming out. So I mean, like the makeup alone, like I know that, you know, some people like to watch for different reasons, but that's why I like to watch it.
There's a drag show where they read the news.
Okay.
Fucking hilarious.
I bet. Is it local or is it like a show?
It's like it streams. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I think that would be hilarious.
But yeah, so that was my mom fail moment over Christmas break.
Okay, I found out my daughter, my 6-year-old, decided to watch the Squid Games because I was listening to the Marine Rapper's new song Squid Game, like, and it comes on and she goes like telling me about this show, and I'm like, have you seen this show? So we're still trying to figure out where she saw it, but she saw it. I was like, you're 6.
Recently for me, I don't know if I don't even know half the things that I say. I'm like, what did I just say? But anyway, Jeremiah was playing like on the PlayStation, and he's like, Jeremiah, honestly, my son is like, I don't know. You know, we know our kids, and then there's always like something that you don't know, like how they act about you around. But I know he saw me, and he took. Okay, let me say what happened. So he's playing PlayStation, and it's like a shooting game. And then he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna shoot them hoes."
You're like,
I've never heard Jeremiah, first of all, ever curse. When I curse, he's like, "Mom, you said a bad word." Like,
so he could have been doing it. You're like, wait a minute.
I was like, "What did you just say?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
yeah, think about
like I'm crazy. And he's 8, mind you. So then I was like, oh my God, is this a moment like I just saw my son's other side that I don't know about? Like, because to me, my son is so innocent and pure and all these things. And then I told him, he's like, I don't know what that means. He's like, I'll stop saying it. I won't ever say it again. I was like, please and thank you. Like, I did not know how to handle it. I was like, he goes, well, what is it? I was like, it's a word that little kids shouldn't be like saying. Like, it's not appropriate. And he was just like, okay, I won't say it again. And I was just like, okay. Like,
now you're like, I have questions, but like,
I was like, was that me or his dad? Because it could have been both.
Yeah, well, he's like what, like 9 now? So I mean, could have been like something here at school. Like,
Yeah.
I come home saying the craziest stuff sometimes, and you're like, I know you didn't hear this in this house.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, like, one of the biggest pet peeves I have when I go to school is like, you know, when you get out and like your mask blows away like out of the inside of your car, and you see it like on down like the street or something, and you're like, oh, that looks kind of like my mask, and then you go to like look for it, and you're like, oh, or your kid's mask, because like their kids, like they're always gone. Like, I don't know about you guys.
More for Jeremiah. He's always like, I need a mask.
What about you, Jen? Do you have to
I'm over this mask thing, and then like I lost my favorite mask temporarily, and I was like absolutely crushed.
Some of you get really
like I don't want a favorite mask,
but we all have one. We all have one, or like a favorite mask brand.
I love wearing the positive to these masks, besides hopefully hot breath getting on your face. is
You know,
the
whoever
fact
creepy
that
does hate on you.
it's kind of it's like nobody knows. And then also too, I saw something that's like, how cool that we are noticing people's eyes more.
Yep.
Really cool.
Because, and it's weird how you can tell, like, more so, like, people, like, what their expression is, like, through their eyes and their forehead, and you don't have to see the whole face to know what they're thinking.
Notice people more now, like in different ways, like being expressive, like besides their mouth. It's kind of interesting.
Seriously.
And have you guys seen like the crazy stuff on Amazon, like the grocery stuff? Have you guys ever like tried looking at that?
Like, what kind of crazy stuff?
Like you know, like the was it the Ramuni, like the glass marble candy or the drink. Like if you go to like a Japanese grocery store here, like it's like maybe $13 for 6 because you have to like carbonize it basically with like
Right.
the marble.
Oh, is it like,
And-
and you push it,
Yeah.
push
And the
down,
drink?
right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you go online, it's like something crazy like $30-$40 for 6. Like they had a Hello Kitty ones on there. It was like $16 for one.
Yeah, I think those are like a couple of dollars at like the local store.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's crazy. Like if you look at like the cost of something in the store, like the Christmas trees, right? That's a good example. Like the Hostess Christmas trees. After Christmas, they don't keep them out anymore. So like people that want them have to go online and pay like crazy ass amounts. So
Somebody asked SodaStream.
I always wanted to like just get one and try all the flavors, but I'm always like afraid that it's gonna really piss me off and I'm gonna not like any of the flavors. Like, that's what I've heard. So I'm like, I don't want to be disappointed.
Like we had one for like, and we used it like 3 times, and we're like, okay, this is dumb.
What about you, Melissa?
I was just saying, I really like the ads that pop up after you search things or like
It's
say
bananas, right?
Suggested for you. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh, my favorite is one of my Marine buddies, and he posted something. He's like, what did I search that this popped up on my feed? Like, and we're all like, we have all the questions. Like, what's going on? What do you
Let
say?
me help you out.
Like I searched it one time, and now it's all over my Instagram. What's up?
I let my friend use my phone. Just say
yes.
that.
Not even that. Like some of those friends are like the super online sleuths that should be like charging for that shit. Like this amount of like stalking they do on their friends or enemies' pages. You're like,
let me see your phone. I already know. Go ahead, do your thing.
Yeah, it takes like not even that long, so it kind of like more horrifying that they can find out that information in that short of a period of time. But what's I gonna say? So, okay, what's one thing that drives you crazy as a parent that you deal with all the time, or like one mom struggle thing that like drives you crazy?
Yourself?
Just like just you personally.
I would say repeating myself.
Repeating yourself.
Are you mean like, oh, like as a mom? Is that what you mean?
Yep. Sorry, my dog's biting my foot, so it's distracting the shit. Ah, Dad.
Have an answer before I do. Feel free to go.
How's little Kim doing, by the way?
Girl, she's hiding from Jeremiah.
She's like this super fluffy cat that looks like Miss Biggles
Right.
or something. Her name's Little Kim, but she like never comes up like when we're on live. She always like takes off and goes the other way. So she like never. Well, it's probably because white cat plus child equals adventures. Stripy cat sometimes.
It could be.
I would say for me as a mom, one thing that I struggle with is like overloading, I guess, like just being like, I can do this, but also I have to do this. Like it's just me.
Yeah.
And we need to spend time with our kid. Like just juggling, honestly, I feel like it's just not that I hate it, it's just really hard. And
yeah, I agree. I think the same
better
thing.
than others.
Not
But
having
it's
time.
good to have friends and people that can relate to you and just know that, hey, it's okay to feel this way, but it'll be another day, you'll feel better.
Yeah, I think for me it's like the same thing. Just like time. Like there's never enough time, it feels like, to do everything that you're expected to do as like a mom. And then especially if you're a single mom, like, you kind of have to get more creative in like how you're gonna do X, Y, or Z. So it definitely can be a challenge at times. I know. I wish sometimes a lot of times I have more time just because, you try to do this or that. You try to do more for work and then you got to cover home and make sure that's taken care of. And then, if you try doing more for work, then crazy stuff happens at home. So there's that work-life balance too. It's always a struggle.
It's hard, and especially like when you have like those just long weeks, like, and my daughter and I are extremely freakishly close. So like we are best friends, and so I go like 2 or 3 days, and I'll only get to see her for maybe 20 minutes a day, and I will break down. I'm like, I just want to spend time with my kid. Like that's all I want, But there's still other, like, I'm married, and my husband has also missed me, and and it's really hard to set those boundaries and make sure that you try the best you can to keep everything balanced. But it is very difficult, and it's very important to take time for yourself too.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us, like, especially as parents, like we tend to do the opposite of that just because we're like, I'll do it later. I'll put myself last. So sometimes that ends up like biting us, because we look years later, we don't realize how fast it does take for a few years to pass. You're like, holy crap, I haven't been doing things that help me as a person individually as well. So I need to work on that. It's definitely difficult. I'll take a sip.
Say again?
Okay.
Okay. Say less.
So this last category is like the single mom struggle. So I don't know about you, Melissa. It's kind of a challenge to date, like if you're a single parent.
I don't even want to date.
You don't want like so many uncle such and suches.
It looks like the dating market looks really terrible out there.
Girl,
So like
the dating market was rough. Like, damn. Like, try to like find the good man. Like, good lord. Like, I'm cool with just doing like the Golden Girls thing, like finding a whole bunch of friends like on a piece of land. Just take like TV to their house. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm super okay with that.
I see why like people stay with their spouses. It's like easier to stay with what you're used to rather than like, it's like, is this what's out here these days? Like,
yeah, it's not even that. It's like, I don't know, like my daughter was like, she was joking because there's a show, it's called Pinky Malinky. It's like about this naughty hot dog on Netflix that does like all this stuff. And one of the kids is named Jay, and he's 3 dads. So like, my name's Jay, and I have 3 dads. And she's like, I have 10 dads. I'm like, girl, I don't even have that kind of time to date though. Like,
you're like, believe me, things would hopefully be nicer. Okay. No.
Right. Like if I had that kind of free time though, like, come on, kid.
And I feel like the dating pool for men is a little like, because I have single friends, both male and female single friends, and I feel like the men like have it a lot easier, and their range is a lot broader, and then females, like, their age range is narrower and their pool is just not as great. So
that's why I look at it like this, right? Like the first time you get married, it's like you had a puppy, right? Like, right? Like just puppy little. The second time it's like you went to the pound, and sometimes you can get an amazing dog from the pound, and that's totally insane. But sometimes the dogs come back all fucked up. I'm just saying that's how I feel about it. Like after getting divorced the first time, it makes it more trips to the pound, I guess. That's how that I love it.
Seriously though, like I like years, first of all. No thanks.
But so yeah, some of it says, what happens if you fuck up your marriage? Is it still worth fighting for? It depends on the marriage. I mean, I was married 12 years. I mean, some people feel that some things are worth, going through counseling and putting that work in. And some people feel that, that's my absolute tipping point. At that point, advantage is just getting taken of me more and more. So it's something that it can't be leveraged, or, worked through. It just really depends, I think, on the person. And a lot of people, they take the vows. They don't take them as seriously as we would imagine in the church, for, richer or poor, for better or worse, sickness and health. Like, I know damn well my ex-husband, and think about the sickness or health part of it, like pushing my ass to the front yard with a wheelchair and like putting it through the car wash and stuff. But you don't think about like the worst case scenarios. Everything seems simple on paper. And, once you start living that, then you're like, there's a lot more investment to being married. And I think, unfortunately now being married is not looked at as it was 50 years ago. But I mean, I think it really just depends, on the marriage and, what the foundation is built on. I mean, sometimes it's bullshit, sometimes it's solid. It just really depends.
I would definitely say, for me and my advice, if you are married, I would definitely suggest marriage counseling. You don't have to only think, you can't just think about yourself, you have to think about your kids. What's best for the family, what's best for yourself, of course. But my thing is like happy mom, happy child, happy husband. Like you can't give your best self if you're struggling and fighting every day for your marriage. And it's like you're lashing out on your kids, you're lashing out on people who care about you. And it's like, okay, you do have to decide, okay, what's best. And people change, and maybe you need time apart. You never know what's going to happen. But
well, and also too, mental health. Like a lot of people, they don't take their mental health seriously enough. And I can't say that enough in the veteran population. It's okay to not be okay. You can get help. There is nothing wrong with going to mental health, life skills, like being inpatient, because at the end of the day, you're getting it together. So that way, maybe, it doesn't end in divorce, or you have a better handle on it. So you're not spewing out some of the negativity that you're trying to deal with and you're not able to. I mean, I've been guilty of it. My ex-husband, he dealt with PTSD as well. I think a lot of veterans, they deal with it, but they don't get the treatment they need. And unfortunately, it has a trickle-down effect into families.
And you had talked about marriage counseling, and marriage counseling is great, and it's important. And I've got to go to marriage. I've needed to go to marriage counseling with my husband, and because we've been married a very long time and had lots of challenges. But on the other token, it's a lot of self-work too. So you need to make sure that you're okay too. It's not just the marriage counseling that's going to fix it. It takes a lot of self-work, self-reflection, and not even just in marriage, but overall in just your personal relationships.
Yeah.
It's very hard. It's something that I've always struggled with, is building like true and honest, like personal relationships with feelings and all. Like it's hard.
Yeah. And people change as the years go on too. I mean, a lot of times, maybe at one point you were very heavy set, you lost weight, you kind of wanted to be more active because you were able to do that physically, or maybe, it's the opposite. Maybe you had a bad car accident, so you were less active, and that made an effect in the relationship too, because of the fact that, when you started being married, they expected one set kind of type of person, but not everyone realizes that people can change over the years with experiences that maybe impact them. So, I mean, it's really a challenge. You never know. And if that person is willing to work with you and try, compliment you, and that way, or you can compliment each other, I think that definitely has a benefit as well.
And the other thing of going to like individual counseling, hopefully the therapy or the counselor, the therapist or the counselor will give you the tools that you need to help convey to your partner what your needs are. Because sometimes it's just hard to find the words or describe like what you're needing.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't even know what the hell you need. Like you're just frustrated with the situation, but you don't really think about like, pulling back and going, well, this and this could change, this and this could be the outcome. Like you don't always look at it from cooler head. Sometimes like if there was, cheating, or if it ended in a way that there's a lot of emotions, like, it might be something that you don't want to look at it through that, calm approach.
Exactly.
But what was I gonna say? And then also like another thing that a lot of single moms don't think about is like how to get to the hospital if you have to get like medical procedures, especially like through the VA. There actually are organizations that do it. There are some local to San Antonio, but I know like Subaru and there are other organizations. They also have like a ride pickup for veterans that are in need if they're getting a procedure, because if you're not with somebody, you may not have family that are in the area, or you may not want to bother family, or, it's during the workday, so you can't necessarily get someone to pick you up. Like for me, like I have to do ketamine infusions. So I have to have someone pick me up during the day. So it's like 2 or 3 o'clock. So, I feel bad because I'm, impacting someone's work. I don't want to pull someone to work, but then you want to make sure that people show up. So you don't want to call someone that wouldn't show up, so it's like, it's a bit of a struggle. So I definitely can feel for that. And then also just like the need for daycare for different events. I know we're working for some in San Antonio that are going to have daycare included. So single parents that are veterans can work in the events, or they can participate in the events. I know we're doing a conceal carry course at the end of February for women veterans. And the last time we did have childcare for them. So that way, if it was an issue, they could have that already taken care of. So that way, having kids wouldn't necessarily preclude them from participating. So we're going to be doing some more as well throughout the year. We're still waiting on scheduling, but it'll be some pretty interesting events here in San Antonio. And I don't know about you guys, but how do you juggle your VA appointments and like school and work? Do you guys ever struggle with that?
I'll go first. For me, when I was going to school full time, honestly, I took school time like as my full time. I used my benefits, and then I did like part time jobs, like waitressing or things like that, because it was flexible for my schedule. And they're like, you can work when you want to work. And then I try to like have a full time working for the school district, and it's just like, at this point, as a single mom, I'm like, what's going to be the smartest move for me? Like, what am I going to benefit most from? Like, be able to have a flexible schedule to make money. And then if I do have my appointments, when I have my appointments, like, has to be during the day. So then I need to speak to my job. Like, okay, are they going to allow me to work this day? Like, it's just kind of like, it's like a game in a sense. Like, okay, like, how am I going to do this? It's like making it all work.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I mean, I struggle with it. Like when I do my infusions and stuff, like it gets out right before I pick her up from school. So I have to have them pick me up and then like drive me through the pickup line.
But how stressful is it for you to be like, what if it doesn't end on time? Then I don't have anybody lined up to pick up my kid because it's just me. It is freaking stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then her dad lives in Dallas, so it's not in San Antonio, so it's not close. It's not like I can say, hey, I need you to quick pick up Aurelia, and he'd be there within 4 or less hours. But yeah.
Even that, like, I would say his dad is very helpful with my son as far as like, hey, I'm gonna be working late, da 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 da. But when those times, it's like I can't because I'm working as well. Like, it's kind of like the battle, like whose job, not whose job, but what's more like
who's got a higher profile reason
yeah.
So my daughter is doing JROTC in high school, and she has to be picked up like late almost every day. I had originally worked in North Dallas, which it was about a 40-mile drive, so an hour and a half, and then now I'm working a little closer. But since COVID, my husband is working from home, so he's the one to pick her up. But I feel very guilty and not involved because it's always him that is relied upon to like pick her up. And just this past Wednesday, like I was like absolutely insistent. I was like, nope, I can pick her up. My last meeting ends at 3. I can do this. Well, like 3 o'clock rolls around and they're like, hey, we have this to go over. And I'm like, fuck. So I have to call my husband like right before our daughter, and he's at work in the office like an hour and a half away. And I have to call him and be like, hey, I know I told you I could do this, but I can't. So like it sucks because I feel like not involved, and like I'm missing out. And I know it's dumb because I'm just like missing picking up my kid from our JROTC, but I still feel guilty.
Yeah,
mom guilt is definitely real.
It's real.
Someone else will make you feel like an asshole, even though like they don't do any sort of interactions like in a workplace where they would have to deal with that on a daily basis. Yeah, it's real. But
I have an amazing boss, so that's not the problem. But it's just like I can't just walk out of a meeting and be like, hey, I gotta go pick up my kid.
And then if you do leave early, you're always like that asshole that like leaves early because they have kids. Like they see like the single people like eyeing you, and you're like, literally, I have to be there for the daycare or the school.
Yeah.
Like it's not because I want to be, guys. Like trust me, I feel kind of like a jerk getting up right now and walking in front
I remember when my daughter was very young and in daycare, like I'm like, the daycare closes at 6. Like I gotta at least, and I would go pick her up from daycare and bring her back to work.
Yeah, I've done that. Like, you're like, here's some coloring, here's some stuff over here. Like, how can I
whiteboard?
You can use the markers, but not those markers. Those ones erase. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The mom life. I agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us today. We're going to go ahead and post the information in regards to resources for moms, for like food pantry, things like that, or just parents in general that are kind of needing some help. And then also we're going to be posting a bit more as well for people looking for rides because of medical procedures, things like that. We'll post it to our page. We did just hit 1,500 likes for our Facebook page. So thank you guys. Mm-hmm. And be sure to keep liking and sharing it. We do post all of our videos to our page, and we will be diversifying our platforms as well coming up soon. We've got a lot going on. Next week, we're going to have L.A. Dubé back on the show with another veteran. We're going to be talking about children of veterans of PTSD. So it will be a good podcast as well. But again, guys, thank you so much for another episode of the Bad Moms Club podcast. And we love and support you guys all. And if you guys want to talk about a certain issue, if you want to come on the show, message us, reach out. Definitely, we're always happy to talk to you guys. But be good or be good at it. But have a good night, guys. Before we go, do you guys have anything to say?
You can follow us at Yes I Am the Veteran Podcast on Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
Mom Life. What about you, Jen?
Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
All right. Well, thanks so much again, Jen. We'll have her on again soon. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.